Hi, I'm Bevan Ginder. Thank you so much for continuing to walk forward in this journey of understanding more of God's heart for the nations. You remember before we talked about Youth with a Mission, or YWAM, and how it's a mission movement. It's a very international missions movement with its focus on training and evangelism and mercy ministries. But we also need to highlight that it's also a movement of volunteers. So the volunteers in Youth with a Mission have embraced the responsibility to raise their own personal and ministry finances. And I want to highlight the wisdom of being a volunteer and inviting others to partner with us, because often when people see this, their heart sinks a little bit and they begin to think, oh, this is not going to work. This is impossible for me. And I get it. I would be so happy to just work hard and never have to stop and ask anybody to help, never have to bother anybody. And yet, let's remind ourselves that God has a role for every single believer in the Great Commission. So God is inviting you into this particular role of going, but He's also interested in inviting your whole network of friends and family, your whole community, to step up into their roles in the Great Commission as well. And so when we embrace this role of being a volunteer and inviting others to partner with us, we are actually not just trying to take things from people, we are trying to give an opportunity to co-labor, to work together with us, to partner with us and God in the nations. And often when people embrace this, they find purpose and vision and joy in being a part of what God is doing in the nations. So let's remind ourselves of Romans 10:13, where it says, how can they hear unless somebody goes to preach? But how can they preach unless they are sent? And then after that, it talks about having beautiful feet for bringing the good news. And so this approach, I think, really highlights, yes, there is the role of the goer, the preacher, but then there's also this very important, vital role of those who send. And we need all of these parts. We need the whole church to bring the whole gospel to the whole world. And it might encourage you to know that there are thousands who have felt exactly like you feel right now, but took the courage to walk forward and have seen God provide for them. And so look in the Digging Deeper section and you'll see videos of missionaries who have testimonies of exactly that. But we know that God calls people to many different approaches. God calls people to many different organizations. This one is definitely not the only one that God is calling people into. And yet I would just want to challenge you gently that to not make a decision about who you go with based only on fear regarding finances. Now, as we go forward, let's remind ourselves of how God provides. For the Israelites, when they were in the desert, the provision just kind of fell out of the sky. But when they went into the promised land, it was different. They had to work the land and they had to understand the principles, and God provided in a different way. And so this is going to be more like being in the promised land, where it's not going to just fall out of the sky. It's going to be, we need to understand how the principles of inviting people to partner with us and the best practices there. And so if we do our part, God is going to be faithful to do His part. But there have been thousands, just to encourage you again, there have been thousands who have said yes and have seen God provide for them, have seen God provide for their family, their extended family, have seen God enable them to even pioneer new ministries, all living on relationship-based support. So God can do it, you can do it. Now I want to challenge you to learn more about partnership development, learn more about support raising. Look in the Digging Deeper section for the resources that are there and start to learn more about this, what your part is in this. And also practice sharing your vision with 2 or 3 friends or family, and then share how it went. But also, let's do first what we want others to do. We first can become people who pray for the unreached and the missionaries who are working there. We can start to give generously, and as we do that, we'll have the authority to invite others to do that as well. So God bless you as you continue walking forward and understanding more of God's heart for the nations and your part in it.
Mentoring Missions Advocates. This is GlobalCASTresources.com.